Hello, today we're going to do about tying on an oboe reed. So here I've got some pre-shaped cane which I have soaked in the bathroom sink or in a big tub of warm water for around 15 to 20 minutes or until they sink to the bottom. Once they've sunk to the bottom you know that they're wet enough, so you've got to make sure they're nice and wet. And I'm going to tie on some oboe reeds today. So I'm going to take my first piece of cane. The most important thing to do with this is to make sure that we prep it properly. So nice and wet, and we now need to measure on a tying on line. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure 26.5 millimeters from the centre of the cane outwards. So that will be 0 and that will be 26.5. You can do that with a ruler, or I like to preset a pair of calipers to 26.5, and then I simply just put it in here, like so, and then I get a nice pencil and I just mark on the edge, like so. Then you double it over. And then duplicate that mark over onto the other side. Okay. So now we've got our two marks. We're going to use this very useful line for two reasons. The first reason is because we need to take off some cane below the line to help us tie on. That's going to help the cane not crack, and it will help it grip better when we're tying our reed on. It also acts as a guideline, so that we can put the staple into the guideline up to the point, and it means that we won't over tie our reeds. So I'm just going to show you how to take off the cane from down here in a really quick way. Some people will teach you how to just scrape like this, but it just takes forever. So what I like to do is get a very sharp Stanley knife and take to the line, and then you angle the blade and just scrape huge chunks away in one go. You don't have to be neat and tidy, no one's ever going to see this bit, and just make sure, if you can see that there, that the end of the cane is very, very thin. The reason for that is so that we don't get bobbly bits when we're tying on. Okay, and do that to the other side. Same again. Get to the line using my thumb as a guide. Dig in and scrape away. It doesn't have to be neat. No one's ever going to see it. It just has to be functional. So looking a bit like that, and you'll get better at it as you practice. So now we have got a piece of cane, a bit on the side so you can see it properly, with two scraped sides, and now we're going to need to get on to the tying. Okay, so now we need to tie on the reed. We're going to use some tying on thread, like this. These Gutermann threads, they're very good. And basically you just need a nice table leg, nice and sturdy. You can see this one's been very well used. I've got lots of strings attached here. So you're literally just going to wrap it around the leg, this, loop it through, pull, and do it again. Loop it through, pull. Should be nice and tight. Now comes the actual tying. You need a mandrel, like so, a nice good quality staple. I'm using a Chirurgi 47 number 5. They're very nice. Pop your staple into your mandrel and get your piece of cane. Now what you're going to do, you're going to make sure that the top part of the brass here is measured up with your line here. I like to put a little bit of extra brass just beyond, so I definitely don't over tie it. Because what you're going to do is you're going to tie your thread up to the line and then work back down again. Do not go over the line. If you do, the reed won't work, okay? And it's just a whole waste of time. So you're going to hold it carefully, pinching it like this in place. And you need to make sure that when you are doing it, it's the ellipse matches this ellipse. So that if you have it, and I'll just show you, lined up without the mandrel on, and you look down the end, you'll be able to see. Trying to get that there. The end and the ellipse should exactly match up, so it's not squiffy. So I'm just going to put that back on my mandrel. Makes it easier for tying. I'm going to make it line it up to the line again. Put it on with my finger, do that very firmly. I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to do one rotation around, nice and tight. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure it's straight. Now at this point, we're going to roll it up the thread, keeping hard tension up to the line. You see I've got to the line there? Then wrap it, this is the difficult bit, round, and pull this one over, and I do it twice just to make doubly sure it's right. And at this point it becomes a bit easier because then this bit is not going to unwrap because it's been tied in. At this point you're going to wrap backwards now down this line to the end and to where you fancy finishing. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So you're wrapping it round like so, back down the end. I mean, you get good at this and you get quick at it, but obviously when you first start it will be a slow business. Just make it sure it's really neat and that every part of the thread is rammed against the other one. You can use the thread itself to flick it up and fill in any gaps that happen, if they do happen, which they might. You can see one just went wrong there for me, so I just make sure that goes in the right place. Being really careful. And once I've got past the end of my piece of cane, I'm going to detach the thread from the leg, and I'm just going to finish off here, just this place. So I prefer my reeds to have a little bit of brass left at the bottom. I think it looks pretty. Lots of people like to do it right down to the bottom, where the cord lies. I prefer it with a bit of a gap. It doesn't really matter. This is the next tricky bit and the last tricky bit. You can see I've got a nice straight reed as well. If it ever goes wonky, you are going to need to straighten that out. And the most important thing is, by the end of the process, the edges should have come in. If you have any daylight showing in this place or this place, where my nail is, then you're going to need to do it again. The edges must close. Really important. Otherwise you'll have a really leaky reed and there's nothing much you can do about that. You have to start again. So just make sure they're closed. This is nice and neat and tidy. At this point you're just going to finish it off by doing a funny knot. Now this is the way I do it. Lots of different people do different ways. This is the way I do it. Pull the thread around your thumb, keeping the tension. See that there? Go underneath, round like this, around the piece of metal. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull that one and loop it through. Like so. And you're going to try to keep it in the shot. Loop it through again, so it's twice. Okay, so now what you're going to do is I then move my thumb like so to here to help guide the loop I'm going to pull. I'm guiding it so it goes beyond, just below the last loop, and then pull it to the side to tighten. I don't know if it'll zoom in there. You can see that's really neat and tidy. Okay, that's the last bit. It takes some practice. You probably won't get it first time, but just be nice and patient, and you'll get it in the end. And at the end you should have a finished reed. Then what you're going to need to do is cut those ends off, like so. And then I nail varnish it with a clear nail varnish. Okay, just anything cheap, just a clear nail varnish. And this keeps it nice and airtight, and it stops the knot at the bottom from untying. So I'll just show you. I'm just going to literally paint on it with a clear nail varnish. It also makes it nice and glossy, makes it look quite pretty. And leave it to dry, and that's what you've got. And then obviously trim the ends.